Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Abhishek Mukhopadhyay, and with me is Saira Mustaba with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with beneficiaries of government programs across the country in the Garib Kalyan Sammelan at Shimla, says Seva, Susashan and Garib Kalyan have changed the meaning of government for the people. Centre transfers around 22,44,000 crore rupees directly in the bank accounts of beneficiaries since 2014 under Direct Benefit Transfer Program. Prime Minister writes individual letters to over 4,000 beneficiaries of the PM Cares for Children scheme, highlighting various benefits. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu reaches Gabon to hold delegation-level talks with Gabon Prime Minister Rose Christian Osuka Raponda. In Uttar Pradesh, 8 BJP candidates filed their nominations for Rajya Sabha today. National Panthers Party Chief Professor Bhim Singh passes away in Jammu. Prime Minister expresses grief over the demise. World No Tobacco Day has been observed today. In Asia Cup Men's Hockey, India to take on South Korea in the final round-robin league match in Jakarta today. And in French Open Tennis, India's Rohan Bopanna and his Dutch partner Matwé Middelkoop storm into the men's doubles semi-final. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that Seva, Susashan and Garib Kalyan have changed the meaning of government for the people. Addressing Garib Kalyan Sammelan in Shimla today, the Prime Minister said his government started empowering the poor from day one and working to build a new India.
देश का ये महत्वपूर्ण कार्यक्रम आज शिमला की धरती पे हो रहा है, जो कभी मेरी कर्म भूमि रही। वहां पर मुझे आज देशवासियों को इस देवभूमि से बात करने का मौका मिले, ये अपने आप में मेरे लिए खुशी अनेक गुना बढ़ा देने वाला काम है। 130 करोड़ भारतीयों के सेवक के तौर पर काम करने का मुझे आप सबने जो अवसर दिया, सभी भारतीयों का जो विश्वास मुझे मिला है, अगर आज मैं कुछ कर पाता हूं, दिन रात दौड़ पाता हूं, तो ये मत सोचिए ये मोदी करता है, ये सब तो 130 करोड़ देशवासियों की कृपा से हो रहा है, आशीर्वाद से हो रहा है.
He said the government is trying to give a permanent solution to the problems which earlier assumed to be permanent. The Prime Minister said 100% empowerment means ending discrimination and appeasement, and every poor gets full benefits of government schemes. He noted that the welfare schemes, good governance and welfare of the poor have changed the meaning of government for the people. Mr. Modi said when the daily struggle of the poor has reduced when he is empowered, then he gets involved with new energy to remove his poverty. Be it PM housing schemes, scholarships or pension schemes, with the help of technology, the scope of corruption has been minimized, he said. He said direct benefit transfer puts an end to the injustice of pilferage and leakage by removing 9 crore fake names from the benefit rolls. Garib Kalyan Sammelan, marking the completion of 8 years of the government led by Prime Minister, has been organized across the country at state capitals, district headquarters and Krishi Vigyan Kendras. The Sammelan conceptualizes elected public representatives across the country directly interacting with the public to get feedback about the various welfare programs being run by the government. The Prime Minister also released the 11th installment of financial benefits under the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi PM Kisan scheme. This will enable the transfer of an amount of around 21,000 crore rupees to more than 10 crore beneficiary farmer families. On this occasion, the Prime Minister also interacted with the beneficiaries of PM Kisan across the country.
देश के करोड़ों किसानों को उनके खाते में पीएम किसान सम्मान निधि का पैसा ट्रांसफर हो गया, पैसा उनको मिल भी गया और आज मुझे शिमला की धरती से देश के 10 करोड़ से भी ज्यादा किसानों से खाते में पैसे पहुंचाने का सौभाग्य मिला है. वे किसान भी शिमला को याद करेंगे, इस देवभूमि को याद करेंगे. मैं इन सभी किसान भाइयों बहनों को भी हृदय से बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं.
Governor of Himachal Pradesh Rajendra Arlekar, Chief Minister Jairam Thakur and Union Minister Anurag Singh Thakur were among those present on the occasion in Shimla.
In Uttar Pradesh, thousands of beneficiaries of central government schemes got connected with the Prime Minister through video conferencing. The program was organized in every district of the state. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath participated in the Garib Kalyan Sammelan, organized in Shimla in the presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi via video conferencing. Yogi Adityanath interacted with the beneficiaries of government schemes in the state via video conferencing from Lucknow. Several union ministers, including retired General V.K. Singh, Ajay Mishra Teni, Mahendranath Pandey, Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti, Bhanu Pratap Singh Verma, S.V. Singh Baghel and Kaushal Kishore participated in the functions organized in different districts where thousands of beneficiaries were directly connected with the Prime Minister. Union Minister for Education, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship Dharmendra Pradhan has said that Narendra Modi as a leader commanding popular faith for 20 continuous years, either as a Chief Minister or as the Prime Minister, is a rarity. Addressing a large gathering organized on the occasion of completion of 8 years of the government at Mahanga in Cuttack district of Odisha today, the minister said the union government has been constantly working for the welfare of all sections of the society, with particular focus on Garib Kalyan and women empowerment. Enumerating the number of beneficiaries of a host of central schemes, the minister highlighted that since 2014, as many as 11 crore households across the country have been equipped with toilets. He said while 9 crore gas connections to poor families have been given, about 40 lakh farmers in Odisha alone have received about 8,000 crore rupees under PM Kisan scheme so far. The minister said under the able leadership of Prime Minister Modi, while 190 crore doses of vaccine have been given across the country, in Odisha alone people have been given 6 crore 72 lakh vaccine doses against COVID-19. Underlining the benefits of Jan Dhan Yojana, Mr. Pradhan said in Odisha alone 1.9 lakh accounts out of the total 45 lakh accounts have been opened, which symbolizes Prime Minister's vision of an inclusive India. Facilitating at least 6 progressive farmers and beneficiaries of different central schemes, the minister said more than 33 lakh farmers of Odisha are receiving about 73 crore rupees directly in their bank accounts today under the PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. Later, the minister along with other dignitaries and beneficiaries connected with the Garib Kalyan Sammelan at Shimla through the virtual mode.
Union Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan has said that integrating economic growth with welfare is the hallmark of the Narendra Modi government. Outlining the accelerated growth and development achieved in different sectors under the 8-year-old NDA government in the centre, Mr. Muralidharan said various measures initiated in the agricultural sector had benefited crores of farmers. He was interacting with the beneficiaries of the central schemes as part of the Garib Kalyan Sammelan in Thiruvananthapuram this morning. The Union Minister felicitated farmers who made outstanding contributions. In Ladakh, the beneficiaries of different schemes from various parts of the district at the Syed Mehdi Memorial Auditorium Hall, Kargil, for the virtual interaction program of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The people also visited the stalls of various departments and gathered information about the schemes. They included the beneficiaries of Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, Ayushman Bharat Scheme, Jal Jeevan Scheme and ICDS. The chief guest of the occasion, Chief Executive Councillor LAHDC Kargil, Firoz Ahmed Khan, along with Deputy Commissioner Santosh Sukhdev, visited various stalls and interacted with employees and beneficiaries.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has described the PM Cares for Children scheme as a determined step taken by the country for a golden future of the children. The Prime Minister wrote individual letters to over 4,000 beneficiaries of the scheme, where he elaborated on its various benefits that the children who lost their parents during the COVID-19 pandemic can avail. Mr. Modi also shared the experience of a similar tragedy his family suffered about a century ago and assured these children that the entire country stands with them in this difficult time. In the letter written in English, Hindi and regional languages, the Prime Minister shared a few things that his mother told him in his childhood. He said his family also went through a similar tragedy and pain about 100 years ago. Mr. Modi wrote, a century ago, when the entire world was in the grip of a terrible pandemic like today, his mother lost her mother, that is, his maternal grandmother. The Prime Minister also wrote his mother was so young that she does not even remember her mother's face, and she spent her entire life in the absence of her mother without her affection. Mr. Modi said the presence of a parent is always a huge support for a child. The National Democratic Alliance government at the centre has transferred around 22,44,000 crore rupees directly in the bank accounts of beneficiaries since 2014 under the Direct Benefit Transfer Programme. With the objective of enhancing financial inclusion in the country, the government is implementing the DBT scheme, which is the world's largest cash transfer programme. More than 300 schemes across 52 ministries are covered under DBT. The scheme has eliminated middlemen and enabled the transfer of subsidies to the bank accounts of beneficiaries in a timely and efficient manner. The government has saved 2 crore 22 lakh rupees due to the implementation of DBT.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu reached Libreville in Gabon last night. Mr. Naidu is on a three-nation tour to Gabon, Senegal and Qatar. The Vice President was welcomed by Gabon Prime Minister Rose Christiani Osuka Raponda upon arrival. Mr. Naidu is accompanied by a high-level delegation, including Minister of State for Health and Family Welfare Dr. Bharti Pawar and 3 members of Parliament. During the first leg of his visit to Gabon, the Vice President will hold delegation-level talks with Prime Minister Raponda. He will also interact with the business community and address the Indian diaspora. In Uttar Pradesh, 8 BJP candidates filed the nominations for Rajya Sabha today, which is the last day for filing papers for the biennial elections to the upper house. The elections to 11 seats of the Rajya Sabha in the state are due on the 10th of June. The BJP candidates who filed the nominations today include former State Unit Chief Lakshmikant Vajpayee, Radhamohan Agarwal, seating Rajya Sabha MP Surinder Singh Nagar, Baburam Nishad, Mithilesh Kumar and K. Lakshman. The party gave tickets to 2 women, Darshana Singh and Sangeeta Yadav from the state, and also filed the papers today. 3 other candidates, Javed Ali from Samajwadi Party, Rashtriya Lok Dal Chief Jayant Chaudhary and former Congress leader Kapil Sibal have already filed the nominations. With 273 MLAs in the State Assembly, the ruling BJP-led NDA will easily be able to get 8 members elected to the upper house of Parliament, while the Samajwadi Party and its allies, with a strength of 125 legislators, will be able to ensure the victory of 3 candidates. Among the 11 retiring MPs from the state, 5 are from the BJP, 3 from the SP, 2 from the BSP and 1 from the Congress. The 5 retiring MPs of the BJP are Zafar Islam, Shiv Pratap Shukla, Sanjay Seth, Surinder Nagar and Jai Prakash Nishad. The SP leaders completing their terms include former Uttar Pradesh Legislative Council Chairman Sukram Singh Yadav, Revti Raman Singh and Vishambar Prasad Nishad. The BSP MPs whose term is coming to an end are Satish Chandra Mishra and Ashok Siddharth. The term of Kapil Sibal of the Congress is also ending in July. Only Surendra Singh Nagar and Kapil Sibal filed the nominations for the next term this time.
In Uttarakhand, polling is underway for Champawat Assembly by-election. Around 45% of voting took place till noon. Meanwhile, a large number of voters are reaching polling stations to cast their votes. COVID guidelines are being followed at the polling stations. 4 candidates, including Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami and Nirmala Gahatode, are in the fray for the seat. Counting of votes will be taken up on the 3rd of June. In Kerala, brisk polling has been reported in the Trikakara Assembly constituency, where a by-poll is underway. A large number of voters were seen enthusiastically lining up at the polling station since morning to exercise their franchise. Around 45.58% of the electorate had cast their votes by 1 p.m.
Over 193 crore 45 lakh vaccine doses have been administered so far in the nationwide vaccination drive. The Health Ministry said India's active case load currently stands at 17,883. The recovery rate currently is 98.74%. A total of 2,338 new cases were recorded in the last 24 hours.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with beneficiaries of government programs across the country in the Garib Kalyan Sammelan at Shimla. Says Seva, Sushasan and Garib Kalyan have changed the meaning of government for the people. Centre transfers around 22,44,000 crore rupees directly in the bank accounts of beneficiaries since 2014 under Direct Benefit Transfer Programme. Prime Minister writes individual letters to over 4,000 beneficiaries of PM Cares for Children scheme, highlighting various benefits. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu reaches Gabon to hold delegation-level talks with Gabon Prime Minister Rose Christiane Osuka Raponda. In Uttar Pradesh, 8 BJP candidates filed their nominations for Rajya Sabha today. National Panthers Party Chief Professor Bhim Singh passes away in Jammu. Prime Minister expresses grief over the demise. World No Tobacco Day is being observed today. And in sports, in Asia Cup Men's Hockey, India to take on South Korea in their final round-robin league match in Jakarta today. In French Open tennis, India's Rohan Bopanna and his Dutch partner Matwé Middelkoop storm into men's doubles semi-final. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। इस बार का विषय है एनवायरमेंट एंड क्लाइमेट चेंज और सवाल भेजने की अंतिम तारीख है 1 जून। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
सिनेमा प्रेमी हो जाओ तैयार, आया है फिल्मों का त्योहार। 29 मई से 4 जून तक लगातार सपनों का शहर लाया आपके लिए उपहार। देखिए मुंबई इंटरनेशनल फिल्म फेस्टिवल ऑनलाइन भी ऑफलाइन भी। पंजीकरण कराएं www.miff.in पर।
Welcome back. You're listening to the Midday News. Gujarat government has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Isha Outreach to save soil. Speaking on this occasion, Chief Minister Patel has said that the state government has been implementing the Soil Health Cards project for farmers since 2004. He said that 115 soil health laboratories have been set up across the state to test and certify soil health. Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev of Isha Foundation gives more details. Well, okay, moving on, our correspondent reports that the MOU will include aspects of soil protection like preventing aridity, salinity and increasing green cover. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, steps have been taken to give boost to local livelihood opportunities. Under the One District, One Product initiative, District Administration Anantnag is promoting trout fish farming. Talking to AIR News, Deputy Director of Fisheries, South Kashmir, Mohammad Siddiq Chaur said the Department of Fisheries has established more than 200 trout fish farms in the district so far. He said the department is supporting local youth and women to set up trout fish farms under Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana.
Basically, there's a huge potential in Anantnag, and we are trying to put all the educated unemployed youth on this track of private farming. There's an immense potential for elevating the life socio-economic status of the unemployed. We have around 210 trout farming units in the district with a production of, I should just tell you, last year's production, it was around 70 metric tons, and the overall production in the district was 140 metric tons. Mother sister run the unit, and it is some sort of part-time business. It does not involve much of the manpower and much of your time. So, and there is a lot of support from the department. Basically, we are providing them these trout units, farm units at the financial expense of 220 lakh. And hopefully, we expect this year we are going to construct more and more units so that it will just create some sort of scope for employment in the district.
The district administration Pulwama is also focused on promoting local products such as pencils, saffron, handlooms, almonds and willow bats, following the Prime Minister's clarion call of Vocal for Local. District Magistrate Bashirul Haq Chaudhary said the administration is providing full support to local businesses so that they can increase their sales and also create employment opportunities for local youth.
पुलवामा के अंदर जो पेंसिल डिस्ट्रिक्ट ऑफ द कंट्री कहलाता है, कि 90% ऑफ द पेंसिल प्रोडक्शन ऑफ द कंट्री का जो रॉ मटेरियल है वो पुलवामा से जाता है। दूसरा जो इसमें यहाँ का जो लोकल प्रोडक्ट है वो ये है सैफरान, जो प्रोडक्ट था जिसको गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने जीआई टैग दिया है। आज वही प्रोडक्ट हमारा ऑक्शनिंग में विदाउट पैकिंग 2.25 लाख रुपए में जाता है। तो ये एक जीआई टैग की वजह से जो है उसको प्रोडक्ट को एक बड़ी अचीवमेंट और एक बड़ा पुश मिला है। उसकी वजह से लोगों में, उसकी वजह से फार्मर्स में भी एक कॉन्फिडेंस हुआ है कि यहाँ पे हाई डेंसिटी एप्पल जो है उसकी अगर हम बात करें तो अभी तक हमारे पास 7,500 कनाल हमने हाई डेंसिटी प्लांटेशन में कवर किया है। आलमंड इंडस्ट्री, क्योंकि पुलवामा सबसे ज्यादा आलमंड प्रोड्यूस करता है, इसको भी रिवाइव करने के लिए जो लेके भी हम उसके ऊपर काम करके सो दैट में इसमें रिवाइवल हो।
In Jammu and Kashmir, the National Panthers Party chief, Professor Bhim Singh, passed away today at his residence in Jammu after a prolonged illness. He was 81. The NPP chief was not keeping well for the last several months. Professor Bhim Singh was born in August 1941 in Ramnagar area of the Udhampur district. He founded the Panthers Party in 1982 along with his wife Jaymala. He remained the party chairman for 30 years. He made a return to active leadership last year when he was elected president of Panthers Party. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed deep grief over the demise of Professor Bhim Singh. Mr. Modi said that Professor Bhim Singh will be remembered as a grassroots leader who devoted his life for the welfare of Jammu and Kashmir. In Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, terrorists fired upon one female teacher at Government High School in Gopalpura of South Kashmir's Kulgam district this morning. In the incident, the teacher received critical gunshot injuries. Later, she succumbed to her grievous injuries after being shifted to the nearby hospital. The slain teacher has been identified as Rajni Bala, a resident of Samba in Jammu Division. Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha has strongly condemned the barbaric terror incident and termed it as the most reprehensible act by terrorists.
And now, let's listen to a special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News, Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
Vande Mataram. भारतीय पताका निरूपकल्पन जेसी तरतराल तरगनंत प्रतिभक्तानंदिंची.
On 31st of May 1921, Gandhian nationalist Pingali Venkaiah presented the initial design of the national flag to Mahatma Gandhi during the Vijayawada session of the All India Congress Committee. The original design consisted of two colors, red and green. To the center of the horizontally divided flag, Lala Hansraj Sondhi suggested the addition of the traditional spinning wheel, which was associated with Gandhiji's crusade to make Indians self-reliant by fabricating their own clothing from local fibers. Gandhiji modified the flag by adding a white stripe in the center, thus also providing a clearly visible background for the spinning wheel.
The flag came to be associated with nationhood for India, and it was officially recognized at the annual meeting of the Congress Party in August 1931. At the same time, the current arrangement of stripes and the use of deep saffron instead of red were approved. During the Second World War, Subhash Chandra Bose used the flag without the spinning wheel in the territories freed by the Indian National Army. Post-independence, a national flag committee under President Rajendra Prasad replaced the charkha with the Ashok Chakra.
We also remember freedom fighter and former Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Dwarka Prasad Mishra, who died on the 31st of May 1988. Dwarka Prasad Mishra actively contributed to the nationalist movements and was associated with the non-cooperation movement and the Quit India movement.
Dwarka Prasad Mishra was born on 5th of August 1901 in Unnao district of Uttar Pradesh. In the year 1920, Dwarka Prasad Mishra jumped into the freedom struggle on the call of Mahatma Gandhi. He joined the non-cooperation movement and remained in the front line of the nationalist movements. He served prison sentences during the years 1932, 1940 and 1942. He became a minister of central provinces in 1937 and 1946.
A journalist and literator, Dwarka Prasad Mishra edited Shri Sharda monthly in 1921, Dainik Lokmat in 1931 and the weekly Sarathi in 1947. Motilal Nehru praised Dwarka Prasad on the editorial written in Lokmat on the death of Lala Lajpat Rai. He had acknowledged that even the best criminal lawyer of India cannot prepare a better charge sheet on the gruesome incident.
After independence, Mishra was elected to be the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh twice. He remained committed to the welfare of the people till the end. We salute the great Indian.
We also remember social reformer Santaram B.A., who died on the 31st of May 1988. Santaram devoted his life to the cause of building a casteless and classless society through his writings in magazines like Chand, Sudha, Saraswati, Kranti and Bharatiya. He was a close friend of Rahul Sankrityayan.
Santaram was born at Purani Basi near Hoshiarpur, Punjab on 14th of February 1887. He joined Arya Samaj at a young age and founded the Jat Paat Todak Mandal in 1922. The Mandal drew attention of the entire nation and received overwhelming support as well as opposition from the conservatives. The Mandal invited Baba Saheb Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar to deliver the presidential address at its annual convention at Lahore in 1936. However, when the address was postponed after vehement opposition from the conservatives, Baba Saheb published the speech as a book and thus came into being one of his most famous books, The Annihilation of Caste.
Santaram wrote more than 100 small booklets advocating Hindu-Muslim unity and an end to caste discrimination. He continued to work for the emancipation of the depressed classes for his entire life. We salute the great Indian.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
World No Tobacco Day has been observed today to raise awareness about the damage caused by consuming tobacco. This day is celebrated on 31st May every year to inform the public on the dangers of using tobacco and the business practices of tobacco companies. The theme of World No Tobacco Day is Protect the Environment. Tobacco kills over 8 million people every year and destroys the environment.
On to sports now. In Asia Cup Men's Hockey Tournament, defending champions India will take on South Korea in the final Super 4 round-robin league match at the GBK Sports Complex Hockey Stadium in Jakarta, Indonesia today. In French Open tennis, India's Rohan Bopanna and his Dutch partner Matwé Middelkoop have reached their first ever men's doubles semi-final. They defeated British-Finland pairing of Lloyd Glasspool and Harry Heriovara in the quarter-finals.
Now let us take a quick look at the weather update for the day. The national capital Delhi is having partly cloudy sky and there is possibility of development of thunder lightning. The minimum temperature is 20 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 40 degrees. Mumbai is likely to have partly cloudy sky. Chennai is expected to have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Kolkata is likely to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with beneficiaries of government programs across the country in the Garib Kalyan Sammelan at Shimla, says Seva, Susashan and Garib Kalyan have changed the meaning of government for the people. Centre transfers around 22,44,000 crore rupees directly in the bank accounts of beneficiaries since 2014 under Direct Benefit Transfer Program. Prime Minister writes individual letters to over 4,000 beneficiaries of the PM Cares for Children scheme, highlighting various benefits. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu reaches Gabon to hold delegation-level talks with Gabon Prime Minister Rose Christiani Osuka Raponda. In Uttar Pradesh, 8 BJP candidates filed their nominations for Rajya Sabha today. National Panthers Party Chief Professor Bhim Singh passes away in Jammu. Prime Minister expresses grief over the demise. World No Tobacco Day has been observed today. In Asia Cup Men's Hockey, India to take on South Korea in the final round-robin league match in Jakarta today. And in French Open Tennis, India's Rohan Bopanna and his Dutch partner Matwé Middelkoop storm into the men's doubles semi-final. And with that, we end the Midday News.